Hello and welcome to The Telescope. Every week we bring you a fresh insight from the biggest car market in the world. Today we are driving the Xiaomi SU7 Ultra. This is the fastest production electric car in the world. I've already done a static review on this car, so for the details on the exterior interior design, you can watch that video. On the road in the sport mode, where this car gives you 940 horsepower, it's crazy fast. It's rip your brain out fast before 100 kph. Above that, it feels slower than the 1200 horsepower Zeekr 001 FR. I've driven that car on track. That car, even above 130, 140 kph, is still like rip your brains out fast. The chassis is firm, but it's not crashy firm. It's standard 911 firm. It's not GT3 RS firm, and the faster you go, the better the ride. I must say, the car we are driving on the road today is on the air springs, so this is a road biased setup. The Belstein coilover springs and dampers, the spring rate is, I've been told it's 300% the air springs spring rate. And I've been told by a Xiaomi employee who've tried the Belstein coilover suspension on public roads, and he said the maximum tolerable speed to go over speed bumps in that version is 15 kph. So by this, if you primarily drive this car on road and occasionally go to track. If we switch to standard mode, this is now a 430 horsepower normal electric vehicle. It is the chassis, dare I say, quite comfortable. It's a little bit stiffer than the standard SU7, but not by much, especially if you come here with the expectation, oh, this is a 1500 horsepower record-breaking hardcore performance car. It's surprisingly usable on a daily basis. The only thing that is different is this steering wheel. With Alcantara and carbon fiber, this does feel expensive and special. Just briefly go over what's changed. It's all here at the front. This logo, Xiaomi has changed this logo to be made of carbon fiber and 24 karat gold to show that this is the special edition Xiaomi SU7 Ultra. Second is now there is a physical button for the electrically powered front. So this bonnet is now electrically powered. Third change is, if you remember in the static review, we asked Xiaomi to provide the SU7 Ultra prototype bonnet, that carbon fiber with cooling opening. That will substantially differentiate this SU7 Ultra compared to the standard SU7. Xiaomi has made that available. This bonnet is now aluminium, the car we have here today, because this is the standard bonnet. You can choose to have that carbon fiber front bonnet with the cooling opening. I really do think everyone should take that option. Now, almost as a side bonus, we're also heading up. We're filming this on February the 17th. 4 days later, that is February the 21st, which is still about a week earlier than when you're supposed to see this video. Anyway, on February the 21st, all of the existing Xiaomi cars will get this version of the so-called parking space to parking space assisted driving. That is, if you show the system once where you park and where you want to park, it will memorize the route and perform a complete from the original parking slot to the destination parking slot. Let's see whether it can spot this construction site or not. Yeah, it's picking up the construction site on the central screen. I wanted to make that overtake. Will it do it? The Mini behind us is already switching out. Okay, here comes the overtake. It's still quite slow, you know. It's good that it's made that overtake, but it should still be like 2 or 3 steps faster for it to be really usable. If this is me, I would have made it through, but this system is quite conservative. That car left a corner of his car in our lane, but there's still enough width for it to go through, but the system didn't. you can still tell it's quite conservative. And I've been thinking, what is the point of such a conservative system on a 1500 horsepower fastest electric production car in the world? And I'm trying my best to find a positive use case for it. And I believe I have found one. That is because this car is so, you are very likely to really drive this car on track. Then, in between tracks, it is in your interest to minimize the wear and tear on this car. Therefore, you put on this assisted driving system, it will always use regen, so your expensive carbon ceramic brakes and the high performance brake pads will get minimum usage. And the car drives slowly, it minimizes, it's just a sort of a protection mode or conservation mode for a high performance electric car. You can tell I've obviously worked in a PR department of a car company previously. I must say I've never felt for such a need for efficiency, or in other words speed, for an assisted driving system, because this is 1500 horsepower fastest production electric car in the world. And I think the minimum requirement for this system is not to get beeped by other cars on the road. And today, using this system, I have been beeped by other cars on the road because this is too conservative. And I think that is just wrong. I think it is a mistake for Xiaomi to show this assisted driving system on such a high performance car for the first time to the media. No normal human being would be driving like this in the SU7 Ultra. And it's quite frustrating to let this car drive itself so slowly. This is what we're here for. We're on track with the 1500 horsepower Xiaomi SU7 Ultra, but we're in endurance mode today. So it's only giving me 890 horsepower or so. Coming start, finish straight, braking hard. We have a leading car in front. So I'm gonna stick to his car as close as I can. You can still tell this car is still quite heavy, especially at this track. This track actually has a lot of long corners, which doesn't play very well to the strength of this car. This car needs a lot of stop and go corners. You see, this track, especially the first and second sector, are all long corners where you are sort of leaning on the tires and sort of limited by the weight and grip. And this car is on the double chamber air suspension. So this is not the full time attack version, but still, it's still quite an experience. We're coming onto the long back straight. The reason I'm braking on a straight is because the leading car is in front. It's still, I've been on track with a 1200 horsepower Zeekr 001 FR, and I can tell in the endurance mode, this is not as fast as the 001 FR in full attack mode. A big part of this car, and Xiaomi being an consumer electronics company, is that they're very good at what Trackday users need. They have built in a complete set of telemetry and the onboard cameras to output a video with full throttle position, brake position, and steering position. And the best thing is, it will show you overlays with other laps. So if you want to know where you're fast, where you're slow, it can give you that instantly in the car. Post-track driving, I don't really know what to say, because the only benchmark I have for this car is the Zeekr 001 FR. This car feels lighter. There is a weight difference, about 200 kilos. Perhaps one other thing that helps in this car's favor is that this car has shorter suspension travel. This car is lower, so you have less of that weight transfer in direction changes. Other than that, the endurance mode, 900 horsepower also, compared to the 1200 horsepower 001 FR, there is a difference. And we're about to get inside the passenger seat of the full qualifying mode, which should have even more power. Now we are with Xiaomi's factory driver. Driving the car is the man who set the 4 lap records so far in this car. And this is the full 1300 horsepower, 1500 horsepower qualifying mode. And this does remind me of the EP9 passenger lap I once had. Oh, this car is now very lively. And this is on road tires. Continuous lateral load 1.17 G. Oh, 1.17 G. This is now a very lively car. And we weren't allowed to cut the curb on our lap with the leading car in front. Now we start a flying lap. This car needs a lot of braking. This car brakes quite early. The tire is limiting this car. 这个轮胎有点吃不住这个动力。
这个是日常的日售胎。
对，对，你就感觉感觉这个电机在等它安定下来之后再给。
没办法。
对。
你日常在外面使用，你只能用这个胎。
这个还是刹的需要很长的刹车。
对对对，你看我刚才从这里冲出去到那里是240。
啊，对。
所以你想想看。
对。这个的标准胎压是多少？冷胎压就是。
热胎压理论上2.9。
有这么高啊？
对。电车嘛，它重嘛，所以现在电动车的轮胎胎压其实跟标准跟以前的油车是不太一样的。
Just being in the passenger seat of the factory driver, I need to keep reminding myself that this is Xiaomi's first car. And it's 1.5 seconds faster than the Porsche Taycan Turbo GT, driven by an engineer. No disrespect to the factory driver, but he is not a professional driver. There's still a lot of lap time to find. And I'm slightly disappointed with myself because my skill level is clearly not enough to max out this car on track. Yeah, this is Xiaomi's first car, and it is already the fastest electric production car in the world. What a story. That is all from the Telescope today. If you enjoyed this video, keep watching, keep subscribing. More videos coming along very soon.